welcome back to another devlog for Ronin 2072. If you're new to this project, welcome. We've been working on this project for roughly 10 months, and essentially Ronin 2072 is a cyberpunk roguelite based in a Neo-Tokyo city called the Layered City. Focused on fluid, freeform movement and combat, you're a masterless samurai turned assassin taking on contracts to wipe out the city's impurity. In this month, we worked on a whole array of things, including texturing the character, a whole new enemy spawning system, and basically getting the first gameplay loop of the game in by implementing contracts and much more. Let's start with the Ronin character model retexture. One of the main things that we noticed was that the texturing felt super lacking, and even now it does feel a little bit lacking, and we probably are going to continue improving the main character within the next few months. Main things we changed was the metal textures, completely changing how they looked and improving them and adding more details inside of them, and changing our colors. If you remember, the color of our Ronin's jacket was kind of this greenish beigeish color to kind of add a little bit more variation in the color. However, we noticed that didn't work too well. So instead we changed it to more of a black shade, and it kind of accented the red dragon that's on the back of the character's jacket, which you'll most likely notice way more when we add lighting in the world. Something we want to do in the future is add more details on the character, and something we want to do in-game is also make it so rain actually looks like it's running off of the jacket to give it more life and more detail to it. And that's something that we'll definitely do down the line. It's not really a focus right now, but it is definitely something that I think would go a long way, and people are definitely going to notice that, and it'll feel more alive, like the character is actually within the world. Another thing that we worked on, which you would think isn't that complex, but it has this big back frame that is kind of required, is our new enemy spawning system. Before it was completely random. It didn't really follow a seed. And the seed is essentially a thing that's very important to us. We created this seed system because we want speedrunners to be able to go in and specify a seed in the game that will give them access to all abilities and modifications and everything. Then they can kind of proceed to do speedrunning or compete with other players that are using the same seed as well, and kind of fight towards getting the fastest run. I also think this is a great way for friends to kind of compete with each other. They can give each other a seed and kind of compete in real time or something like that. But essentially, our entire enemy spawning system utilizes this seed to randomize which location they're in. So to do that, we had to specify specific locations in bounding boxes, essentially. So then that way we can select some of those spawn locations and specify what kind of enemy can go there and all that kind of fun stuff. This was pretty complex, and it's still going to become even more complex. Some stuff we want to do is add in a way for the spawn locations to kind of understand if there's other spawn locations nearby, so they kind of space out. As you can tell, there are a few spawn locations that are kind of inside of each other or really close to each other, and some of them are on the edges of the buildings, which aren't really good. That basically means an enemy can spawn and fall off the building. Not exactly the safest thing. But what this does is we can go in, press a button, randomize the locations, and then artists or designers can go in and specify even more locations and kind of customize things, which is great. Now you're probably wondering, well, Crimson, this isn't exactly randomized. The chances of you getting the exact same locations, exact same rotations, exact same type of enemies in the exact same spots is very slim. It's still going to feel very randomized from run to run. On top of that, we also started the implementation for our contract system. Basically, in this game, you have to take on 3 contracts and eliminate those 3 contracts in a night, and then you go back to your apartment, and that is considered a successful run. That is one of the things that we finally implemented. Now, of course, the enemies are just the grunts, but recolored, but it works. That's the basis of this system, and we wanted to get that working so then testers can go in and actually start doing contracts and start playing around the world, and they get goals. There's this nice little thing. We have a scanning ability that can scan enemies in a kind of a radius, and you have a compass that you can use that leads you for a couple seconds in the direction of where your contract is. Now, right now, our scanning ability has a cooldown of like 4 seconds for testing purposes, but in the future, it'll be like 15 seconds or even 20 seconds. That way, it'll push you in the direction, and sometimes you might even forget a little bit, but you can continue using that scan ability to find the direction of where your contract is. This is going to be super interesting when contracts are actually moving around the world and doing things, because we do want that at some point, is contracts aren't just going to sit in one spot. There might be some that are actually actively doing things in a location, walking around. Maybe they'll be in a vehicle. Stuff like that is stuff that we do want to implement at some point to really add more variation to the game and to the world, and kind of give off a feeling of, hey, not every contract is the exact same. Enemies are doing things differently, and you kind of have to adjust your playstyle accordingly. I think that stuff is always cool. Now, right now, our game plan for early access is just the basic contract implementation, but once we get all that fleshed out, then we want things that kind of randomize the contract's behavior and all that kind of fun stuff. I think it's going to be awesome having that. I think people are really going to appreciate that. Now, with all of our animations, and like we stated in the last devlog, we've been doing a lot of animation changes, including the wall running animation changes, and these aren't even finalized. We've actually been thinking of changing our entire wall running animations to something completely new, and hopefully it should look a lot better in the next devlog. Right now, though, we changed a bunch of stuff. We changed the wall jumping animations as well, so when you tap A while you're wall running, you can jump in a direction, and we're sort of improving that as well. There's so many things we have to improve. It's such an iterative process, but it's definitely getting there. It's feeling good. Like when you do a wall jump into another wall jump, you could properly do it and get to a location with minimal bugs. However, there are a lot of things that we do have to clean up, so then that way everything is consistent. Additionally, you guys did see the zipline a while back. We've implemented this a long time ago. We finally added in animations, and it's feeling really good. You can actually hop on the zipline, and it feels like it's got a cable on it, which is awesome. It feels like there's physics. We basically did this by adding 2 cables together. One's connected to the start and then to your hand, and then one to your hand to the end. That way, wherever you are, it'll feel like you're on the zipline, which works really well. It's basically a cheaty method, but at the end of the day, what matters is the end product, and if it looks good, then it looks good. There's definitely some stuff we want to change up. I think one thing that I do want to change up is the feeling when you exit the zipline. It does look a little weird, but we'll definitely improve that over time. On top of the ziplines, I've been adding in new things as well, including ropes and monkey bars, and I even have another thing coming as well, which I'll probably show off in the 10th devlog if I can get it in. We added in ropes and monkey bars, which don't really have animations at the moment, but the functionality works. It's at the very basic initial implementation. Essentially, the ropes, you can go vertically up and down on them, which works great for getting around areas that are really annoying. We aren't going to abuse this because I feel like it just completely removes the whole platforming aspect and kind of ruins the game if we use it too much, but we're using it very softly in some areas where it makes a difference, and it makes sense to add it there. Additionally, monkey bars are also a thing. You can jump on it and then hop from monkey bar to monkey bar. Of course, it's a little clunky at the moment because I am waiting for animations, and then I can kind of go forward with that. But the initial implementation is there, and it's a lot of fun going from a wall run into a monkey bar into like something else. It's super cool, and I can't wait to see the amount of things that people are going to do with these new things that we're adding into the world. That's it for this devlog. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to check out my Twitch stream where I do a lot of development on this game every day, essentially, except for weekends. I really do appreciate if you check it out, say hi or something, or even drop a follow or something. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to drop a like and subscribe. I really do appreciate it. And other than that, I'll see you in the next devlog.